Hello, guys and girls. Good that you could join us again for another workshop. Just a few hi hands. How are you doing? And I can see some familiar faces again. Randy and Roger, of course. Have you? It's great to see you there. And Bob, Daryl, and Gary, of course. I always haven't seen you guys in the room, and it's nice to see that there are a couple new people. Like from the webinar yesterday. I just wanted to announce that we sort of did a soft launch of 1.1 yesterday. Soft because we haven't officially announced it yet. That's forthcoming probably next week. Just want to kind of do it, ease people into it because there might be some support issues with the update because we did change a couple things with the file format and whatnot, which might be cause a couple hitches when you do the update. And actually, I want to just quickly go over that right now because if you do see some issues, okay, what I'm getting at is things like the strategy as well as the especially Raven has actually changed its file format a little bit, and so some users have been reporting some errors once they do the update. And by the way, if you're on the beta, the easiest way to update, and I've actually switched this over to, is just to click on your BloodHound instance right here, go to Help, and check for updates right there. My computer seems to be running fairly slow today. I'm not sure why. Just bear with it while it tries to catch up. Okay, try to reconstruct the screen here. There we go. Okay, mine says it's up to date, but if it isn't, you'll get a little dialog saying that the new version's up there, and you can just click the update. And just be where you got to close down NinjaTrader, and once it's done, you can reopen it. Like I said, you might get some errors, and there's a couple remedies for this because the errors are actually benign. Okay, so what's going on is is NinjaTrader sort of accustomed to loading up Raven and BloodHound in a certain way, and it's got it kind of ingrained in it. It's saved in a workspace file. I believe it's what's causing it. And so you might get a little complaint saying, "Hey, I can't load, Raven anymore." Even if it's not even, ironically, even if it's not even the strategy list. Sometimes it just does it. I'm not sure why. But anyway, the way around that is just simply to create a new workspace. And I must apologize, but NinjaTrader seems to be running really slow right now. You just go to File, Workspaces, and go to New Workspace, create a new one, close the old one. That should take care of a lot of stuff. And another strategy that we found, if you're finding a lot of things are going crazy, okay, is just after the install, and if you're finding a lot of stuff is not loading properly, just simply go to your documents and NinjaTrader 7 and then your bin folder right here. Okay, go to custom. So it's NinjaTrader 7 bin custom. This is where all your NinjaTrader custom indicators and everything are installed. It's always under this particular folder. And you're going to see a file here called ninjatrader.custom.dll. Okay, and that's actually what that is it's your third-party indicator code. Anything you've got under your indicator file, or what NinjaTrader does is it compiles that and it spits out a DLL file and then loads that on the beginning. So you can actually safely delete this file, and NinjaTrader will recreate it on the next time it opens. We found, however, that sometimes you have to actually delete it, open it, endure some more errors, close it down, reopen it. Okay, so I guess it's a little bit of a quirk with NinjaTrader, but you actually have to sometimes do it twice. Okay, the first time around it recreates the custom.dll. Second time around it actually fixes the problem and recompiles it properly. So not sure why that is, but that's just the way it is. You may also see a new file in there. That's SI setup. That's ours. Don't be alarmed. That's just our little setup utility that just goes in and fetches the latest version of BloodHound from the server. You could safely delete that as well because it just pops in there every time it's needed. All right. So with that kind of housekeeping out of the way, oh yeah, actually, and so just for the benefit of the veterans that are in the room here, I just want to see if I can really quickly show you a little bit of what I've been working on. And this is very preliminary, guys. This is in fact, I'm sort of hesitant. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess it's I don't even have the right framework on this computer, unfortunately. I guess what I'll do, I'll pass it off to Zach, and maybe if I get it working, I'll showcase it really quickly. I just want to get some feedback from you guys. Like I was saying, I'm working on the divergence indicator. I know there's a lot of you veterans in the room here are divergence traders, and I just want to make sure, what I've got is kind of easy to understand. And if you got any sort of preliminary feedback, this is kind of a great forum to do that in. And I don't have anything that's worth just sort of distributing at the moment, because it's the behind the scenes stuff doesn't quite work yet. It's just mostly an interface. But I'd love to hear what you have to say. So other than that, I'm going to pass the baton over to Zach, who is going to take it away today. And we're probably going to keep it light today, because I know we do have our veterans here, but we certainly got some new people as well, and from yesterday's webinar, and we'd like to sort of kind of ease them into the BloodHound and keep it nice and light today. All right? So
thanks, Jeremy. I got it. So, well, welcome veterans, and welcome new people from yesterday's webinar up on Trading Pub. So, for all you veterans in the room, we're going to keep this one pretty basic for the new people that are in here. So, just to kind of give you a heads up, I'm sure you guys are all new to this, but who knows, you might pick up something new anyways. All right, so let me start off with some various ways to get help with BloodHound here. So you can see I have our main website up here, and so let's see. Number one, let's start with support. And down here you'll see there's a contact page. So let me switch over to that. Get that loaded up. And what the contact page is for, it's basically is to submit your support questions. And so this, there we go. And so you can put your name in here. And of course, we need your email. We don't have to have your phone number. The phone number is in case you're a first-time person and you need a phone call back to discuss something before your purchase or whatever. And then down here is where you can type in your support question down here. And the reason why we prefer using this is because it sends in a support ticket that both Jeremy and I can see. So whichever one can get to it first, you have both of us working on your ticket there. And then secondly, you'll see a book an appointment here. So I'll get back to this in just a moment. But as it says, this can book a one-on-one appointment with me. I'll get back to that in a moment. Also under support, you'll see a Learn BloodHound, and also under BloodHound, there's a Learn BloodHound. So the next thing I wanted to show you is our Getting Started page. This is where I'd recommend anybody new to using BloodHound start here on the Getting Started page. So let me bring that up. So what this will do is this will walk you through various videos that Jeremy and I have selected to kind of walk you through the learning process step by step. So these videos have been selected to just kind of take them, one in a row, one after the other, and this will basically give you a good foundation of how all the components of BloodHound work. So as you can see, we have the quick start guide, and then down here, this will take you into the video section. We just open up a new tab. So the video tutorials, once again, are just videos that were, really shortened and direct to the point. These were made specifically. You'll see a lot of the other videos are basically workshops that we're using. Right, and at the bottom down here is the use of logic nodes and how the 4 main logic nodes work. And then back on the getting started page, the next step is the give me more. We kind of wrote this with a little tongue-in-cheek. I like to add a little bit of humor to keep the learning light. So on the getting down and dirty page, this gets into more detail. So each of these workshops that we posted here are workshops that we did a few months back for each of the solvers within BloodHound. So you'll see that they're all listed there. And then after that, you'll see there's a tips and tricks section. So when we get a lot of common questions, it seems like we can, at times it seems like, we get the same question over and over again, so we know that some trading coach out there probably just taught a bunch of new people, and somehow they found out about our software and they come in with all the same questions that they just learned. So when we get a lot of common questions, we put them up in this tips and tricks area. This first video, how to analyze custom indicators in BloodHound. So this is a good video, to help you just do just that. So because there are some indicators out there that don't plot a line, such as like this SMA line. Some indicators out there, put these little, put these arrows on there on the chart, or they put a little dot up there on the chart. And so this video shows you, what BloodHound can read and what it cannot read. So for example, BloodHound's not able to read these little arrows, unfortunately. Hopefully, maybe with NinjaTrader 8, we might have that capability. Some other things that indicators might put up there, kind of looking for. There we go. Like there's some indicators that put up this, this Fibonacci object. So once again, unfortunately, NinjaTrader doesn't give us the ability to read this chart object. So, so this video will help you kind of figure out if an indicator can be read by BloodHound. At the same time, if you can't figure it out, we're here to help you guys. We'll try to do that for you. Now, if it's a paid custom indicator, then we may not be able to help you. But we're always willing to work with other third-party vendors and trying to get their indicator readable by BloodHound. So, we're willing to talk to the author of the other custom indicator that you may have in order to help them create an output data that BloodHound can read. So if you have a favorite indicator that gives great signals, let us know and try and communicate with the author of that indicator, and we'll try and get together and see if they're willing to provide an output signal that BloodHound can read. So there's some more videos down here along the bottom. So All right, so what I ask is that, when you kind of finish these videos here, or at least at a bare minimum, if you could finish the, there we go, the tutorials. Oh, wait, these aren't the tutorials. Where'd they go? There we go, way over here. So if you, for the new people, if you could at least finish watching the tutorials, and then after that, then you can, let's see, where's the link? Here we go. Then after that, please feel free to book an appointment with me, and I can help you kind of get started with things. So, and then use the book an appointment button. So, and even for you seasoned people out there, I've met with several regular people a couple times to help troubleshoot specific conditions and stuff like that. So, all right, let me kind of go back here. So some other resources on the website. There's the documentation section. All right, so this is all written documentation. So you'll see on the right-hand side, here's all the various sections. All right, so there's links to the quick start guide, and once again the video tutorials and the tips and tricks. And then further down here, you'll see all the individual solvers that are available. So let me, I'll just select the comparison one. Then you'll see here's all the written documentation of the description of every section for that solver. And if you keep scrolling down, then you'll come across the video tutorial again for this solver. So this, once again, this is a workshop that we posted, but when you use this video, it will jump you forward in time directly to when I start talking about the comparison solver. So you don't have to watch the beginning of the video to actually get to the comparison solver part of the video. And then further down, in all the documentations for the solvers, there's the examples here. So you can click on the picture and it'll enlarge it. So just some screenshot examples just to help explain once again how the solver is working. All right. And there's also a section for Raven. All right, so just to kind of explain to anyone who's new with NinjaTrader, BloodHound is an indicator. Right, so you load BloodHound on the chart as an indicator, and Raven is the strategy component. So you'll have to get to Raven, you have to go to, excuse me, let me take a drink of water. So to get to Raven, you have to click on the strategies here. And so here's the section for Raven. And yeah, I can see I still need to post a video on this. So let me jump over to the videos. So we do record all of our workshops. So down here is the training workshops. And so they're all listed. So here's kind of a short list here. And if we click on this link, recorded webinars, then you'll see they're all listed by date in descending order. So you just kind of scroll down, there's a short description for each of them. You know, some of these Q&A ones are pretty good where we go in and answer specific questions from customers. You know, how do you set up certain conditions and things like that. So those can be pretty informative. So just scroll through them, see if any of them pique your interest. All right, let me see if there's anything else I'd like to cover. And yeah, here we go. One last thing, the download section. So you may have noticed on some of these video. Well, let me jump over to the tutorials. Yeah. So you'll see that on some of these videos, there's a download button. All right. So the green buttons are download the BloodHound template file, and the red buttons, kind of tried to make it the NinjaTrader red, downloads the chart button. So the chart button, is for when you want to load up a chart template. These templates here, right? So you can load up a chart template. That's what the red button downloads. And then here it tells you, where to save that file to, right, in the NinjaTrader 7 directory. All right, so I was clicking on the download section. So you'll see this is kind of like a central depository for all the downloadable files that we have on the website. So you can go and find all the chart templates in here, of course, and the BloodHound templates here. Right. So there are a few BloodHound templates in here that may not be directly linked on the website, and those would be signal files. Let's see. So like this moving average price bounce, there's a moving average price bounce number 2, requires 2 bars. This was a question I had answered for a customer. So you could use these template files just to kind of, if you're the type of person like me, I like to kind of see an example, and I learn best from someone else's examples. So that's what all these can help you do. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So I see there's some questions popping up here. So let me kind of take a look at the questions, and then after that, I plan on kind of going through some basics with BloodHound. So we'll kind of start from the beginning. I'm going to delete BloodHound on my chart there, and we'll start from the beginning of how to get BloodHound on your chart. So let me look through these questions here. So Gary says, we're ready for divergence. Yeah, I'm sure you are. So coming soon, Gary. Jeremy showed me the interface the other day. It looks really neat. So, all right. Well, thanks. Gary's giving us a plug here for all the new folks. BloodHound is one of the greatest tools you will ever buy. So thanks. Thanks, Gary. Let's see, Javier. Yeah, Javier says he's commenting that the support contact doesn't have the capability to include a file attachment. Yeah, Javier. Yeah, Jeremy does have that in the works to be able to put a file attachment on that web page. So yeah, that is on our list of to-do stuff. So thanks for that reminder there. And looks like Rainey has a question. So he's saying, Jeremy, can you explain to me again why 2 instances of BloodHound can't plot the same chart together like installing two SMA indicators at the same time. Let me reread that again, Randy. Well, Randy, if I understand your question right, two instances of BloodHound on the chart. You can actually run two instances of BloodHound on the chart. So let me add that to the chart. So, all right, where is it? I picked up a lot of indicators on my way. Okay, so you can see I have two instances of BloodHound, and they're both on there. And I can load up two different template files. So, let me load up this one. And I'll load up another template file. Let's see. Oh, looks like the bug Jeremy was talking about, possibly. Let's load up this guy. There we go. All right, and you can see down here, I had to press F5 to refresh BloodHound. All right, so Randy, so there's an example of two instances of BloodHound on the chart, and we could have totally different systems running. So I'm not sure what exactly you mean. Maybe you mean something a little more specific than that. All right. So Roger's asking, any videos on functions? Roger, not as of yet. So we're just exiting the beta stage of this, and so I'll start doing some function videos here pretty soon. Actually, I think starting next week, I'll start covering some function nodes. So Jeremy had started covering the new features in 1.1. Was it last week, I believe? And I'll start that next week, and I'll just kind of start from scratch and start over. And so we'll start creating some workshop videos on those. And so Mark saying, you're starting from a position where BloodHound's already installed on NinjaTrader. Yes, that was correct, Mark. And I'm going to remove BloodHound again and start from scratch. I went through it very quickly for Randy's question, and I'm going to do it again from the beginning. Let's see, Oscar, I couldn't use some templates of the workshop because I don't have some of the indicators you used. Yes, Oscar, that may be the case. I'll tell you, though, that all of the indicators that I use are from either Big Mike's. I'm sure you'll find about 99% of them up on Big Mike's Trading. There might be a few that are in the Elite section. I've gotten these a long time ago, so I don't remember whether they're in the Elite section or not. And so then there's a few that I grabbed off of NinjaTrader's website. So if you don't find it on Big Mike's or NinjaTrader's site, then you may need to join Big Mike's membership, and that will get you into the elite section up there. So yeah, I don't use any proprietary or paid third-party indicators during these workshops, just because of that reason. You know, I want you guys to be able to at least be able to get the indicator that I'm using from some source without having to, you know, pay for it. So, all right. Let's see, RJ. Is it possible to check the crossover of price against range high and low? Example, first hour high and low. As well, can I use volume profile indicator? Let's see, so RJ, you're first. To check the crossover of price against a range. Yes, RJ, that is possible. So I'll save your question here towards the end. Let me kind of get through some basics of putting BloodHound on the chart and just kind of show some simple solver conditions, and then I'll get into showing, actually, let's see. Yeah, no, RJ, I think I'll show, your example is pretty simple, just using the comparison solver or the crossover solver. So yeah, I'll get to your question as I'm kind of demoing some of the solvers here. And let's see, Randy's. I'm looking for discrete outputs as opposed to combined. Yeah, Randy, I'm not, well, maybe your next comment, it clarifies, because I'm not, you know, I'm not exactly sure what you mean for discrete. I mean, each instance of BloodHound on the chart is going to give you a discrete output, in that it's only going to be outputting, you know, the solvers and the logic template that's loaded up in that instance of BloodHound. BloodHound's not going to merge the two outputs of the two outputs of both BloodHounds on the chart together. So they are both giving you discrete signals. All right, so good. It sounds like Oscar's going to go try and find that file up on Big Mike's. And you know, I wouldn't mind posting those indicators on our website, but Big Mike doesn't like that. So we you know, definitely want to play nice with Big Mike's forum. You know, and we really appreciate all the, yeah, we appreciate that website. It's got a lot of good stuff up there. It's a good resource, and we do encourage all you guys to become a member. It's well worth it. It's just a one-time donation to become a member, and then you get access to all the elite section there. Okay, so back to Randy's question. If I load BloodHound, which outputs at SMA crosses, and a second instance of BloodHound, which outputs MACD inflection, I can only get the output of one or the other to plot, but not both. Okay, well, Randy, I'll try and address your question here when I get going. And Javier's got a question. An indicator crossover of CCI 6 period and in EMA 3 nested. All right. Yeah, Javier, I still kind of remember your CCI thing. So here we go. So an indicator. I'm going to reread Javier's question. An indicator crossover of CCI 6 period and an EMA 3 nested into the CCI6 sometimes, not always, fails to give signal on the first cross when together. Okay. Well, Javier, I take it that you got your nesting situation corrected. So I remember when you put that question up, when you posted that question on our help ticket, you had the nesting reversed, so good, you got it backwards. Okay, well, Javier, that kind of makes a good first demo. So I'll dive in with that question. So, and okay, bar direction solver. All right, and so Javier's got some additional kind of questions to go along with this CCI crossover system there. All right, so I'm kind of hold off there on the questions and kind of get started with the basics here for the new people. So, you know, I've noticed in the last few months we've had so many veterans in the room that I've kind of relaxed my beginning introductions, so it's nice to kind of get back to this. All right, so you can see I just have a chart here with some moving averages and a MACD and a stochastics. You know, this kind of makes for a good starting point for beginning lessons of BloodHound. So let me first get BloodHound on the chart. All right, so it's an indicator, and BloodHound is down in the S's. It's under SI. Let's find it. There we go. So it is under SI. SI is for shark indicators, and then you can see our other indicators that complement BloodHound. So there's chameleon. The displacer, that's used internally for BloodHound. It doesn't actually draw anything on the chart. It doesn't have any use on the chart by itself. It's an internal function for BloodHound. We just don't have a way to hide the name yet. And then SI intraday pivots. The price marker, once again, that's an internal use indicator, so it won't do anything on the chart. There's SI swings, which actually it's not the same as the swings indicator for NinjaTrader. It actually, SI swings plots the swing direction. So it'll pick this high point, it'll draw a line from the high point down to this low point, right? And basically it'll show you the immediate trend direction. And then as price started moving up, it'll start drawing a line up to this high point. You know, so it's actually it's like the swings indicator that comes with NinjaTrader, except it draws a line between the high points, and it doesn't actually mark the high points. And it has a nice feature where it'll mark double tops and double bottoms for you, and it'll mark higher highs and higher lows or lower lows. So the SI swings highs lows, this indicator marks the high points and the low points, just like the NinjaTrader swing indicator, except it has a few extra features built into it. It's a little more intelligent in picking the highs and low points as well, versus the NinjaTrader's swings indicator. All right, so let me get an instance of BloodHound on the chart. So you can see when I loaded up BloodHounds on the chart, it defaults with the green bars, and you'll see there's a button now on the chart and this pull-down menu. So the button will bring up the interface, and I have to bring it over here. And so here's the interface. Let me kind of step through each of the components of the interface. You can see the file menu, right? So you can hit open and go through and look for all the templates that you may have saved. You can see that here is this list here of 20. There's 20 listed on here. This shows the most recent 20 BloodHound templates that you have saved. So it's picking them by date. So the last 20 that you had worked on, or the last 20 that had been saved, is what shows up on this list. So if you need to go find an older one, you can just go click on open, and then it shows you the list of all of them there. And you can see that where these template files are saved, they're saved in the Documents, NinjaTrader 7, Templates folder, and then there's a BloodHound folder under Templates. So that's where they're saved. The edit section, so if you have solvers on there, you can clear them all out. Basically this just clears everything, all the solvers off, so you can start from scratch and clean. Just remember, if you do use the clear, please make sure you change the file name first immediately, because if you clear your if you clear your solvers off and you go, oh, I need to go do something else first, and you exit out, every time you hitting this exit button is the same as saving. So BloodHound is always saving your template file. So every time you exit, it saves your template file. So just be cautious when using the clear. Under the help, you'll see these are URL links. So if I click on one of these, the online support, documentation, video tutorials, those will bring up the website. So those are direct links to the website. It'll open up your web browser and take you there. And of course now we have the check for updates. So this will run the SI update program file that Jeremy had showed you earlier on. And then of course the about section will tell you what version you're running. Right, so we're still on the beta 1.1, and we're up to 04 now. All right, so next one down is the file name. So this is really after as soon as you put BloodHound on your chart and you bring up the interface, this is really kind of like the next step you want to take is give it a name. So I'm going to hit the change button, right? Now that basically you can see here it's the same as the save as. Right? You see it brings up the save as dialog window. And what I like to do, take a shortcut. So this is a training workshop, so I'm just going to select one of the previous names. And it's amazing, it's the 23rd already. All right, so I'm just going to, so this is today's date, right? It's 2013, and then 01 for January and the date. So that's kind of the naming convention I've used. So that way, when you're on the website and you're looking at the videos, you'll know which BloodHound template file matches the video by matching up the date. All right, so let me save that. Okay, so now you can see we have a name, and we can see the name also populates in the button here. So we can give this a description. So right, workshop video for new users. So this can be very handy. I've seen some customers' systems getting pretty complex, and they'll kind of like take a main idea and they'll kind of start creating offshoot scenarios to try and try and improve the system. So every time you kind of change the name and create an offshoot system, using the description field would be great at describing what little changes you might have made. All right. So with that done, now we can kind of start looking at building a system. So let me close this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Javier's CCI indicator on my chart, so we can use that as an example. So let's see. Yeah, I need one CCI, and then what he's doing is he's smoothing it, which is same as the Keltner channel. Or oh, hold on, I'm thinking of something else. Well, actually, yeah, I think his CCI system uses the Keltner channel using the midline, which the midline is really a modified SMA. All right, so I'm going to select this SMA, and let me change the periods here. So I'm going to put a 6 on there, and the SMA was a 3, but really this is a SMA of the CCI, so we can see it correctly. I'm going to nest the CCI into the SMA indicator. Just waiting for that interface to come up. All right, let's get these on the chart. And to make this a little easier to see, and I need to put this on the right panel. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th panel down. All right. Okay, here it is. I'm going to move it up 1. All right, so we're going to build, I'm going to scroll to the beginning of the chart here. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for these crossings, looking for the CCI to cross the SMA of the CCI. So let me bring up BloodHound. So this is kind of how I like to work. I like to have the chart on one side of the screen, and I put BloodHound on the other side, and that way I can just flip back and forth between them. So usually I'll leave just a little edge that I can click on, so I can click on the BloodHounds interface. All right. So we're going to be looking for a crossover condition. So you can see here on the Solvers tab, we have all of all the different solvers that we can select from. So we're going to use the crossover, and we're going to add it to the chart. All right. Now you can see, let me kind of go through the other buttons here. So this chart button here will allow you to add alternate time frames. Right, so we can see here that I can change what the time frame is, you know, for this particular chart. So if you use two different charts, this is how you can incorporate indicators on different charts into one system. Right, I can just set it to 5. You can see that switches over to 5. Now, when you add a chart or remove a chart or modify it, basically if you do anything with a different time frame other than the default one, so if you modify a secondary time frame here, you're going to see that you're going to have to refresh your chart. So NinjaTrader requires a refresh of the chart so that NinjaTrader can load the data from that 5-minute chart. And then BloodHound can read that 5-minute data that's just been loaded. So, you know, Jeremy, a while back, about a month back, attended a webinar on big mics where he was hosting NinjaTrader, and they kind of they discussed some of the upcoming features for NinjaTrader 8, and sounds like one of the great improvements is using alternate time frames. And it sounds like they're going to be making some good improvements on that, so that'll be nice to see. So I'll just leave it on there. All right. So let's modify our crossover solver here. So the first thing I like to do is name the solver so I know what I'm working with. So this is the CCI and the SMA CCI. And actually I can kind of put the periods in there, so just to help out. So let me back up here. Still used to just kind of speeding through for all of our veterans. So this crossover solver, right, to have a crossover, it requires 2 indicators. So we have an indicator A section, and we have an indicator B section. And here, up here in type, there's some kind of quick select options. So if we're just looking for the price, in particular the closing price, to be a part of our crossing condition, you can just quickly select the closing price there, or you could look for an absolute value. Say you want to look for a crossover condition of when the CCI crosses the 0 line. What you could do is you could, down here in indicator B, you could put an absolute 0, and you can see it defaults to 0. So let me put the CCI in here, so that way we can actually see some results on the chart. All right, there's the CCI in the 6th period. Right, so we can see the charts updating automatically. So every time the orange CCI line crosses the 0 line, crosses down, we get a short confidence out, or short output, or a short signal. kind of use those terms. The technical term would be a short confidence out, but usually I use the word signal. Little quicker and easier to say. So you can see all the crossovers using an absolute value. Right. So there's some other things here. You know, if you needed to use the swings or the linear regression channel. You know, if these are kind of leftovers from BloodHound's beginning before it even had a name. So that's why they're still in there. You could use the linear regression slope indicator, and it'll give you the same data. So this is just kind of a short, quick, convenient way to get to it. All right, so let me put it back on indicator. And so next, we want this to be the SMA3 of the CCI. So let me show you how to nest indicators with BloodHound. So we already have the SMA on there, which is good. It's what you want to start with because we want to smooth out the CCI. I'm going to change the period to 3. And then next I need to go find that CCI. And I will use the nest input. So remember, you just want to do a single click, not a double click. If I double click, it's going to replace the SMA with the CCI. So just one click to select it or highlight it, and then use the nested input. And now you can see it's nested in down below. Let me change the period on it. And we can see the CCI only has one output. So we don't have to worry about the output there. And yeah, so there we go. There's definitely a lot of crossovers. We can see here, mark a few. Right, the orange line crossed up above the white SMA line, and therefore we got a long signal out from that solver. So Javier was saying that he was missing. Oh, Javier. Okay. Well, all right, Javier. Let me switch this over. So he was letting me know that he's actually using the EMA. And instead of the SMA, he's using the EMA. So let's switch that over real quick. So go find the EMA. There's the EMA, so I can double click on it, and you can see it replaced everything that was down there by double clicking on it. And 3. All right, go put the CCI back in there. Change it to 6. All right, and next step is to change the chart. So let's do that real quick. All right, 3, and we want the CCI. And we want a 6 period. All right, and this is on panel 4. Let's put this on panel 4, and I'll remove that. Now, as you guys are probably all aware, that as soon as I click OK, the chart basically updates and the chart refreshes. So in order for the chart to refresh, the BloodHound's interface is going to have to close because the interface is tied to the chart. So the interface will close, and when it does, when that interface closed, it also saved the template file as well. It saved the BloodHound template file. And I'm going to switch this over to white. Make it look the same. Okay, so there's the EMA on there. And let's see if we're still getting yeah, so Javier, you know, this is the first visible crossover here. You might have noticed when I was using the SMA that it showed some crossovers in this blank area, right? So, you know, just so that you're aware, NinjaTrader doesn't start drawing indicators until 20 bars, until the 21st bar on the chart. So NinjaTrader blanks out, you know, indicators from plotting on the first 20 bars. But you'll notice that BloodHound I had a workaround from that. And so when I was using the SMA, you know, there were some crossover signals in this blank area. So I don't know, Javier, I guess we'll have to set up an appointment together to take a look and see what's going on. So yeah, or maybe you could send some screenshots in. Yeah, send some screenshots in to us. So, you know, once you get the first email from the support ticket, you can attach screenshots to the email. That's kind of our workaround for now until we have file attachments on the website. So, all right, so let me kind of get back and want to look at those previous questions that I had. All right, so RJ's question, he's wanting to look for the crossover of a certain range. All right, let's see. RJ, could you tell me what indicator you're using for capturing like the first hour high and low? I'm not sure if I have I'm not sure if I know what indicator you might be using. Let me go through and I know NinjaTrader has a built-in high-low range for the day. Let's see, range. So we have the high-low today. I see, RJ, you said you're using a volume profile. You know, I think RJ with a volume profile, I would suspect that, I know that the way most volume profiles are written, that I don't believe BloodHound would be able to read that because most volume profiles are written with a custom plot code, And so it's not using NinjaTrader's built-in plotting method, which is really which is the only way to read data from indicators, to use NinjaTrader's plotting method. You know, it would be possible for them to create an output that that BloodHound could read. So you'll have to do some experimenting with that indicator. I can kind of give you some help on that. Let's see. Well, I'm going to put this indicator on the chart. Well, it looks like this indicator will kind of work for my example here. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to change the colors here just so they're a little easier to see. There we go. Nice and bright. So RJ, let me kind of show you an example of what this volume profile, you know, what the author of the volume profile could do to provide data that BloodHound can read. Let's see. Let me just use a slope indicator. And yeah, here we go. So the this ADX VMA, you know, this was a custom-written indicator that is available up on Big Mics, and you can see that right. It has some standard plots here, the rising, falling, and neutral, but it also has a data series. So this data series is basically the rising, falling, and neutral all combined into one continuous data series. So it's like this, you know, simple SMA that I have on my chart, this white line, right? This is just one plot of the indicator, whether it's rising, falling, or neutral, and that's what this data series is. The data series doesn't plot on the chart, but it's data that represents the same data as the moving average. And so this is something that, you know, that a volume profile or a volume ladder could have incorporated into it. You know, this might be possible to use a data series or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of my quick suggestion on that one, RJ. You know, once again, RJ, you know, you can book a one-on-one appointment with me, and we can kind of look at that indicator together, and that way I can give you a better exact answer of what's possible. All right, I'm gonna delete that, and let me kind of get back to this other question here. Right, so we have an indicator that's marking the lows and the highs for the day, and so what we want to do is we want to know when we break this high point or the low point. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be comparing price to the indicator value. So when price when price is greater than the previous indicator value, that's what we're looking for. So let me kind of adjust the chart here to so let's look at that. You know, that pink just doesn't show up too well on top of the orange. So let's just make it white. There. So just to reiterate, we're going to be comparing I'm going to compare the closing price to the indicator to see if the closing price is greater than the indicator or if the closing price is lower than the indicator. So I'll put the comparison on there. And I'm going to turn this other solver off. And so you can see when I remove the check mark, you can see the crossover markings went away. So the output for this solver is disabled. So now all that we'll see is this indicator here. So let's name this. So I'm just going to call it the high-low / close for closing price. So I'm going to take a shortcut here and use the closing price. Well, actually, let me show you another way to get the other prices. So I'm going to put this back on indicator. And so I'll show you one of Shark indicators that will give you the other prices, such as the high, low, and open. And that one is SI Chameleon. And we called it Chameleon because it will also allow you to use alternate instruments or time frames. So if I set this to true, you can put in another instrument name, right? So you can see I can go select the 6A, which I believe is the Australian dollar. Yeah. So select the 6A, and then I could use the 1 minute chart on the 6A, or I could set this to a range, a 10 range as well. All right, so this chart here is a 10 range chart. So I could get data from the 6A instrument on the same 10 range or whatever I want, and and feed it into the solver. So that's why we called it the Chameleon, because it can become any kind of instrument or time frame that you want. All right. But we're just going to simply look, just use the price bar data. So I can show an example here of, we're going to be using, actually, being how this is a range bar and it has wicks, I think it would be safer just to compare the high and the low to see if the high and the low break the indicator's high and low marking. So for longs, so I want a long signal when the high breaks the indicator's value, and I want a short signal when the low price breaks the indicator value. So right here is a good example, if you can see my cursor. So the low is lower than the previous low that's marked by the indicator here. So let's look for those conditions. And then next, I need to put in the indicator that I'm comparing to. And let's see what. There we go, high-low today. And so we're looking to break the high of today for long signals, and we're going to break the low of today for short signals. So let's switch this over to shorts. And so one additional thing that we have to do is you can see here on the chart that the indicator updates instantly, right? So the value of that green dot moved down to match the low of the bar, right? So essentially the indicator's dot is equal to the same value as the bar low, as the low price. All right, so they're equal. So the way that we know if we broke it is we have to compare one bar back. So if we look one bar back, we can see that the low is lower than the previous indicator one bar back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this displacement. And this displacement is the same, it operates the same way as this displacement in the indicator window. So we're going to displace the indicator by 1. And now you can see it all works out. Now it's working out. So if I want to show on the chart what exactly kind of NinjaTrader is seeing, I can open up this indicator. I can set this displacement to 1. And so now you can see the indicator value is higher than the low of the bar. And so that's what BloodHound is seeing. So BloodHound sees that the low of the bar is lower than the indicator value, and therefore it marked a short condition. So RJ, this may not be exactly what you meant by looking for price breaking the high and lows. This, you may be, I'm assuming that you're talking about a volume profile indicator. But essentially, this is how you would do that condition, what you're looking for. You would just have to change the, this high-low today to the correct indicator that you want, that you want to compare to. So that's how you would do that condition. All right, so I think I took care of RJ's question. That was a good question. I'm just looking through these questions here. All right, so addressing Randy's question about having 2 instances of BloodHound on the chart. All right, so we have, you can see we have this one system here, and in Randy's kind of question, he kind of mentions the MACD inflection. So luckily I have the MACD on the chart as well. So let's use the MACD, and let me add another instance of BloodHound on the chart. Okay. All right. I'm not actually going to give this a name. This is just for quick demonstration. So let me put the I get to show you guys what the inflection solver does with this question. So an inflection, well, let me just set it up and show you. Probably easier to show you than it is to explain it. But inflection, we're using it in the mathematical term. So, okay, so there's the MACD. This MACD line is the blue line on the chart. And oh, for some reason I had the periods on the MACD different than the default, so let me put them back to the 12 and 26 as standard, kind of the standardized values. Yeah, see, so since I don't have a name for this template, it's asking me, do you want to save it? I'm just going to say no for now, but if you hit yes, it'll bring up the Save As dialog box so you can give it a name and save it. All right, so now we can see, so here's what the inflection solver does. An inflection is just a reversal point. So you can see that as the MACD comes down and it reverses up, that solver marks a long signal out. And then as the indicator comes up and then it dips down, it marks as short. And then of course the indicator flips back up for a long and then down again for a short. So you can see that at all of these reversal areas, that the inflection, that's what the inflection solver is looking for, is this reversal in direction from up to down and from down to up. And so Randy, so we can see that I have two different bloodhounds on the chart, and I'm not using the logic templates, I'm just using the solver tab. So Randy, may I, just a simple suggestion, it's amazing how often the solution works, but I would suggest restarting Windows. So, I also do IT work at the local university, and restarting someone's computer fixes 95% of the issues. So, so for what it's worth, maybe that's maybe NinjaTrader. I've seen. I was just helping someone out the other night, and or no, it was a ticket that came in, and they had an issue, a weird one, and then they wrote back and said they restarted their computer and now it's gone. So, sometimes Windows gets in a funky state or NinjaTrader gets in a funky state. So maybe that might be your solution there. If maybe that's what'll fix the two instances somehow combining together. All right. All right, just going to go through some of these questions. And I'd like to do kind of a quick demonstration of using the AND node. All right, so let's see, I can, yeah. So Javier wants me to combine the crossover and the bar direction together. So let me take a look at that. And I'll use the AND node to demonstrate this. So I'm just going to adjust my indicators here. Okay. This chart's getting pretty busy. Okay, so here's the crossover. All right, I'm going to turn both of them on. So just keep in mind we're working with the output of this BloodHound right here. So you can see now that as I check and uncheck these solvers, right, it's affecting the output. But as soon as I create a logic template, these check marks have no effect anymore. Everything's going to be based on what's on the logic board after that. So you can see this is grayed out because there is no logic defined. So I have to use the new button, and there it populates with a name. So so I'll just call this the CCI test. And so now I can go and turn these on, and you can see that it doesn't affect the output. That's because the only output that BloodHound shows is what is connected to this result node. So we have to start putting some solvers on here. Excuse me. I need to get another drink of water here. Now this is another nice new feature for BloodHound 1.1 is now you can, you know what, oh shoot, I'm not running the latest 1.1. Yeah, I'm not running the latest. From this solver node, the list of all the solvers are on here, so I can add a brand new solver directly to the logic board. But I thought I had the latest up here, so I'm going to have to go back to the solver tab, drop the bar direction in there, add it here. Oh. And then drop this on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine these two conditions together. So I'm going to use the AND node. All right, so now that I have something plugged into the result node, you can see we have an output now. And so having these turned on and off has no effect. All right, so I have the, I can take this bar direction, plug it straight into the result node. As you can see, I get an output on every bar. But on the solver tab, it's unchecked. So this check mark has no effect anymore. So let's look at our CCI crossovers. We're having all the crossovers marked. And so you notice that the shading, the background shading, doesn't match the signals on BloodHound here. That's because the last instance of BloodHound added to the chart is the one that gets to paint the background. So I'm going to have to delete this guy. There we go. Okay, so now the background painting, or the racing stripes as we call them, are matching with BloodHound now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to require the bar direction. So to show you what the bar direction does, it's pretty simple. Solver, you can see that all the down bars are marked red, right? So we have a short output for all the down bars, and the up bars are all marked green. And Javier now knows that when you have a doji, see this doji here, there's no output from that solver on a doji. That's because the doji didn't close up and it didn't close down. So we can build a solver that will look at this doji. So like if you have a, in this case, this is a shooting star, or if you have a hammer doji, that you can get an output with that, right? So with this shooting star, we could get a short out of this, you know, that, so we can build that condition using the let's see, using the comparison. Yeah, using the comparison solver, we could build a solver that will mark this type of doji as a short, because the open and close also is the same as the low. So that's what you do. You look for the open, the close, and the low to all be equal for a short on this type of candlestick. So what we're looking for is this crossover, CCI crossover, to also match up with the bar direction. So if I plug this in, you notice how a whole bunch of these conditions went away. Let me kind of draw a quick circle here. So all of this area went blank. Let me disconnect the bar direction. Right, so you can see we have signals here. You can see we have a short. So this short output matching up with a long bar. And this long signal matched up with a down bar. So when we join the bar direction together with the AND node, the bar direction doesn't agree with the crossover solver, and so therefore there's no output from the AND node. So the AND node only allows through when all of the solvers are in agreement. Then the AND node allows the output to pass through. So that's kind of a simple example of the AND node. Let me kind of do another simple example that might be a little easier to see. So say we only wanted a signal, a long signal when the MACD is above the zero line, and we only want short signals when the MACD is below the zero line. So what I'm going to do is set up a comparison solver. So what we're doing is we're comparing the MACD value to the zero line. And so when we're above the zero line, we want a long output from the solver, and when we're below the zero line, we want a short output. So let's go set up the indicator, MACD, and I'm going to use the MACD plot, and just use the default periods. And we're going to be comparing it to the zero line, which is an absolute value. So we'll just use 0. So let me give this a name. So it's the MACD to 0 comparison. All right, I'm going to drop that solver on here. Drop that down. Let's just plug it into the result node. All right, and take a look. So there we can see the MACD is below the zero line, and so that this solver here gives us a short output. And as soon as it crosses above the zero line, we get a long output. So this comparison solver will act as a filter for this crossover solver. Let me get this out of the way. So let me show you again. We have all of these crossover signals, and we're going to filter them out by using the MACD. So we'll plug this filter in, and there we go. So now we can see we only have shorts now with the MACD below the zero line, and we only have longs with the MACD above the zero line. So, all right, I'm going to try and wrap it up there. It's just after 12. So let me go through some of these questions and see if I can answer them pretty quickly. All right. So Mark is making the comment, CCI nested underneath SMA seems to indicate the CCI is the subset. And that is correct. So when you're smoothing the CCI with an SMA, ultimately you want the output from the SMA. So that would be correct. But it's just the reverse. Well, yeah, you know, I do understand how that seems confusing, but when you're smoothing an indicator out, you know, whether it be the CCI or, you know, you could even smooth out the MACD. Well, in fact, that's actually what this average value is the smooth MACD line, you know, using a 9 period. You know, you do actually want the value of the SMA, because the SMA is what's doing the smoothing of the CCI. So I'll try and think of it that way. And you know, also we just wanted to match how NinjaTrader does it as well. So we didn't want to do, you know, an opposite of what NinjaTrader's doing. Right. So with this EMA, right, we're getting the value from the EMA, but we're feeding the input series, we're feeding the CCI into the EMA. And so that is what, let me go find that. And so that is what BloodHound is doing. Right, so we're getting the value, we're analyzing the value of the EMA, right, here's the EMA plot, but we're feeding the CCI into the EMA. Just as it shows here, the CCI is inside of the EMA. So, you know, hopefully Mark thinking of it that way kind of helps out. Okay, I'm just looking through some of these questions here. Bob wrote in a comment, initial balance on one of the MP indicators would have the first hour high-low. Initial balance on one of the MP indicators. I'm not sure what you mean by MP, Bob, but maybe some of you other guys out there might know what that means. That might help you out. MP, market profile indicators. You know, I don't think I have those on my system. So thanks for the suggestion, Bob. So RJ wanted to see, can we use 60-minute candles high-low? So let me put this on a 10-minute chart, and let's see. So trying to think of a comparison here. Well, this may not be a good example, but we'll see if it works out. So, all right, so let's see. All right, 60-minute high low to, let's see, what do I want to use here? To the EMA 55. Okay. All right, to the EMA 55. So I'm going to use Chameleon here to find the 60-minute high and low price and compare it to the EMA 55 on this 10-minute chart. Oops, I went too far. All right, 60-minute, and okay, so I'll look for a long, when the high, yeah, let's see, how do I want to do that? Yeah, I'll look for a long signal when the high is above the EMA and a short signal when the low, actually, no, let's reverse that. So if the 60-minute bar is above this red EMA line, if the low of the bar is above, that means, yeah, so the whole bar is above. I don't think that would ever work out. Yeah, that probably would never work out. So, let's maybe do something a little simpler. Let's just kind of look for, yeah, we'll keep it this way. We'll look for the high and the low. And I need to change this over to the EMA 55. All right, and the next step, I'll create a new template here. Drop the 60-minute on there. Plug it in. And oh, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to have to refresh the chart. So let me save this. And yeah, I'm going to have to refresh the chart. Let's see. And, oh. You know what? I think I need to go in there and select the indicator. Let's see. I just put 60-minute. And let's see. We're on the NQ. Okay. And all right, let me put the NQ in there. Well, shoot, I didn't have much time to think this through. So maybe the conditions I put in there don't ever fire. I would think they would. So, but unfortunately, I'm kind of running out of time. So sorry about this. But you know, that's how you would use the 60-minute candle in, you know, the data from the 60-minute candle on the 10-minute chart. So let's see. And just kind of reading through some of these questions here. Some of them are comments and some of them are questions. So Oscar is asking, can you repeat how to set a range bar, please? I'm not sure what you mean by how to set a range bar. That's not setting a range bar. Is not a BloodHound, right? That's something on the chart. That's a NinjaTrader data series thing by setting a range bar. Put this back on a range bar. Oops. And so if maybe you're talking about using a secondary time frame or using the chart button, right? So I have this 5-minute chart in this template, and if you wanted to set a range bar for that, right, I could set range, and then I could work with like a 20-tick range bar, right? So I could work with a higher time frame like that. And let's see, let me drop this solver down. So now this solver is working on a 20 range chart. So if I save that, and we can see down here, I'm going to have to press F5 because I changed that chart from a 5-minute to a 20 range. So I'll have to refresh that. And I would also need to, in order to take a look at that, let's see. So here's the solver. You can see now, see the text above the solver, it says 20 range, so it tells you what chart the solver's on. And so now you can see that on the 20 range, the MACD didn't cross the 0 line, until this point right here where it changed from red to green. So Oscar, hopefully that answers your question. And so RJ, I'm sorry I'm running out of time to address your you're checking the high-low of the 60-minute bar. And I'll try and pick that up next week. Right. So I think Randy was making a comment about something I was showing earlier. All right, so Randy's trying to clarify his statement here. Let me read through this. Oh, okay, Randy. So I think I understand your question. So, yeah. So I think when you have two instances of BloodHound on the chart, I don't really have enough time to set it up. You're wanting to see the shading background from both instances of BloodHound, and that's not possible right now. That's a limitation of NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader only allows one indicator on your chart to shade the whole background. Right, so you might have noticed that when I had the second instance of BloodHound, it would shade its own indicator panel, but it wouldn't shade the whole chart. So only one indicator is allowed to shade the whole chart at a time. So if you're talking about the racing stripes from two different instances of BloodHound, yeah, that's a limitation right now that we can't get past. So if that's what you're wanting to occur. So thanks for that clarification, Randy. I think that's what you're commenting on. So, all right, Hans got a question here. Is it possible to address swing highs, lows separately instead of the last one with the comparison solver? Before last, third last. Let's see. Is it possible to address swing high-lows separately instead of the last one with the comparison solver? I think I know what you're saying. So let's just pretend like this today's high-low thing. So you're wanting to know what this third value back was. So see, like we're right here in time. This is our current bar, and you want to know what this third price value is back here. Actually, before. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like the fifth one back. Let's see. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of a way. You know, we have the ability to say, you know, look so many bars back, but not, you know, how many instances back.
Zach.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a swings back parameters in one of the solvers. I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. Let's see. All right. So we want to put this on the swings, and number of swings. Well, there's number of swings, and what that does is that tracks. So every third swing. So like if we're plotting this one, this is going to be the second swing. This high point here. Let me mark it. This would be the second swing. Oops, that's a ray. This would be the second swing, and this would be the third swing. And then when we get to the fourth swing, then this plot would move up to here, because the indicator would be tracking the last 3 swings. So this is like the number of swings we're tracking. So when we get to this one, this would be 1, 2, and 3, and this one would be, I guess, historical. So, Jeremy, I thought I knew what you were talking about, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, I'm actually just trying to
take a look at
where it was exactly. Yeah, it was.
No, it's not those, and yeah, this is not tracking the high and low prices. This one, this indicator, the swings high-low, tracks the prices. You know, the prices there. So yeah, unfortunately.
Well, you can use the the high-low swings to effectively do something like that, it's not precisely what, looking at the last or third last swing, but what it'll do is it'll take the last three swings and then take the largest of the last three, and or the widest or the narrowest of the last three. So it's a little more general, I suppose, than always just taking the third last or fourth last. So it's a slightly different flavor, I suppose, of what you're asking, but it may accomplish what you're looking for.
Hmm.
And I do recall somewhere, I just remember there is a setting somewhere that allows you to specify the number of swings back to start looking, and I just can't remember where it is for the life of me. But there is a setting somewhere there that lets you do that.
Yeah, so Hans, we'll take a look at this in next week when we have more time. So I'm really running out of time here, okay. Well, it looks like I got through them all today. So great. Thank you for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week. And I will let Jeremy have the last word here, just to mention anything else that might be coming up. All right, so thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, guys. I don't really have anything more to add, but we'll be here same time next week. So we'll talk to you later, and have yourself a great weekend and a great week.